This is a new old stock 1968 Packard Bell console color television. It came off the showroom floor of a television repair sales center that closed up in the early 70s. And I want to make a video series out of this set. The idea is to put it into full-time daily driver operation and document what fails, when it fails, how it fails, and basically just use it and see how it goes. Like I said, it's Packard Bell, so it's a lot an RCA clone. Power button, ICP, which is degaussing, they call it instant color purification, VHF, UHF. It has this tag on it. This says RCA, but I think the price is about right. I think in 1968 this probably was about $539. One really stupid design feature of this TV, and I don't know who thought this up, but the volume control is behind the door. This is the volume control. And why you would put the volume control, I can understand on a remote set, but this is not a remote set. Anyway, that's one annoying design function. So here's the idea. I found a friend who basically works from home, and the TV's pretty much on all day, every day. They use it a lot. And their workstation is kind of in the same room as the TV, so they kind of work between both things. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this up. We're going to do, in this video, we're going to do full documentation. We're going to go through this set. And I'm only going to do two modifications. I'm going to add an hour meter, and I'm going to add a cathode fuse to the horizontal output. And that's pretty much just to prevent fires. What we want to do is we want to document the life of the CRT, the life of the flyback, the life of the tubes. We want to run this for basically 2 years. Every time there's an issue that comes up with the TV, there will be a video documenting it and the repair to correct it. So this will be an ongoing series for as long as the set lasts. There's one little obstacle with this science experiment, and that is this. 330 watts. Now what I'm going to do, and I've never done this before, and I really, it's not my style. I'm going to shake the cup a little bit on this one and say if this series touches you in a personal way, Patreon or the little love thing to kick down a few bucks would be very helpful, because here in California, and it's different in every state, but here in California we have a very elaborate pricing structure for our electricity, and it's basically based on time of use, demand, and it's a tiered system. So let's say in the lowest tier, not on peak pricing, we're probably paying about 20 cents a kilowatt. But if you jump up to peak pricing, in the higher tier, you're paying almost 80 cents a kilowatt. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but if this TV really uses 330 watts, that could be $1 every 4 hours. So that could rack up pretty quick. I'll take care of the parts and tubes and all of that. That's no problem throughout the life of it. Here's the documentation. I've been through this before on other sets. Yeah, see, volume control. I don't know what kind of stupid... Ooh, too green. Schematic. Here's a schematic. Ooh, here's the original punch card. Care for Packard Bell cabinets. So here's our hour meter, made in Germany. Speaking of electricity issues, 100 to 130 volts, 60 hertz. Got this off DigiKey. So the idea here is we put this inside and hook it up to the power transformer, to the primary of the power transformer, and basically we just start racking up hours. And let's say the TV develops a problem at 20 hours. Diagnose it, fix it, document the hours. Probably going to do a video every hour, 200 hours, say. We'll check the CRT, we'll check a couple of the tubes, and we'll kind of watch. We'll get a baseline of everything in this video, and then we'll kind of just watch the degradation. And the idea is, how long do these CRTs last? This is the original equipment CRT. I hate it when people point in videos. This is the original equipment CRT, untouched, not a replacement. How long does it last? Does it last 2 years? Does it last 1,000 hours? 5,000 hours? That's what the idea is behind this video. Rack up hours on this set and see how it goes. How long do horizontal output tubes last? 6JE6 horizontal output tube is selling for like between 50 and 75 bucks for new old stock now. How long do they last? Fuse holder, I think I got some 200 milliamp and some 250 milliamp. Yeah, these are quarter 250 milliamps. Ooh, made in China. These are 200 milliamps. So we'll start with a 200 on the horizontal output tube, because I don't want to blow the tube up. You can tell it's very, very virgin-y. It's got all the original screws in it. I bet this hasn't had one tube changed in it. And as I opened the back, that delicious vintage electronics odor just came out and filled the whole neighborhood up with goodness. So there it is. That's probably the first look in this thing since 1968. So let's see here. Has it been plugged in? Yeah, it's been plugged in. It was on a showroom floor. It does have some hours on it, but probably not more than 50. This is original. Who made this? Japanese. That looks like that's taken a dump, doesn't it? It's very low hour. Solid state IF. It's got the stand-up board here. And I'm looking, all the tubes are original. Anyway, here's the original Packard Bell CRT. And the green halo suggests that it's zenith. There I go, pointing again. Pointing. Do I really need to point? Alright, let's check the CRT. And we're going to kind of thoroughly analyze this thing. So we'll start with all three cutoffs all the way up, and we'll come up to 6.3 volts. Okay. Now in the future we'll use the same tester. We got about 50 volts here. Alright, set cutoff. Oh, all three are pegged. Okay, I'm going to go to test. All three are just slammed. So let's come back to setup, and we'll bring the cutoff down to where they should all be. One small notch up. Right there. Right there. And right there. So is that right? The thing is still waking up, but when they're good, they don't need to wake up. But it is waking up. They just keep coming up. I'm going to give it a minute. But anyway, we can go to test. That's what a good CRT looks like. So they're all 1.5, 1.5, 1.6. So all of our cutoffs are set, what, about 2 o'clock? And this is what our emissions look like. Alright, let's go down to 4.7 volts. Give it a minute to sort of stabilize. Doesn't look like it made any difference. Yeah, no difference at 4.7 volts. The cutoff didn't even change. Let's come down to 3 volts. Or is that 4 volts? So it hasn't dropped off much. I haven't had to readjust the cutoff. They're starting to not be as equal, but yeah, very, very strong. This is what a new CRT, this is a new CRT. I've come all the way down to 2.7 volts, and I still haven't adjusted the cutoffs, and this is what I get for emissions. Let me see if I bring the cutoffs up. Yeah, not much better. So at 2.7 volts, it really starts to drop off. I'm back up at 6.3 volts, and I'm just looking at, is this the dark cathode tube or is this the bright cathode tube? And this looks like the bright cathode tube. The later CRTs, the ones that lasted like forever, had a really, they called it the RCA dark cathode. And you could barely see it. It was just a very dim, low, dark orange glow. This is one of the older bright ones, so I don't think these last as long. But we're going to find out. We're going to put an hour meter on it, and we're going to find out how long it lasts. I got the chassis out on the bench here. And I'm checking the electrolytic capacitors. No, they have not been reformed yet. It's probably been 10 years since I powered this set up. Here's the chassis out on the bench. And all of the capacitors are really checking excellent, like as new. So this seems to have been, I mean, even these crappy black ones, these are usually, look at that, 6615 is the date code. And that's good. Of course, this blue, what is this, a Mallory? This is going to test good. If I could get it with one hand. Again, tests good. There's one of those little black ones on here. Probably part of the audio circuit. I believe it's these two. So between ground and right here. That's good. Let's see. So we have the main filters. Oh, it's not great, but it's 1 ohm. How's this one doing? Half an ohm. How's this one doing? Half an ohm. How's this one doing? That one doesn't look like it's connected to anything. But yeah, all the capacitors are checking out. I don't know about these blue ones. Outside foil is marked. They're made in US, but I don't know if they're paper, foil, or mylar, or polypropylene, or polystyrene. I don't know what these are. Even those are starting to go bad now. The more modern red ones, they're starting to get leaky and go bad when they get 30 years old. So we thought paper were bad because paper didn't last, but it turns out these new modern molded ones are going bad too when they hit 30 years old or so. So these, I don't know what these red ones are. The other thing to do is find where to connect the hour meter. So I'm looking at the schematic here, and it looks like, because we want to be on the inside of the switch, we want to be really right across the, boy, wacky wabbit. I could screw that up any worse. Too many W's too early in the morning. So it looks like the degaussing socket is, which is this right here, is directly across the primary. So I just want to tack on a couple wires, because this accessory socket is basically all the time power. I want to be on the back side of the circuit breaker, on the back side of the power switch. So I'm going to just come out of here with a wire and connect it directly across the degaussing socket, and that'll go to our hour meter. Other than that, yeah, these little green ones here, these are the ones I've watched videos. These are starting to go bad in video game consoles. So the modern mylar ones are not standing the test of time. I mean, we thought paper was bad, and you know, but only because we're seeing paper that's 50 and 60 years old. We aren't seeing these that are 50 and 60 years old, and it turns out they're starting to go bad. The only ones that seem to stand the test of time are ceramic disc. For our cathode current fuse, we have a test point right here, this loop. So we're just going to unplug this and connect our fuse across those 2 points. And the fuse will just become the cathode current test point / protection. Like I say, I want that fused because this tube right here is very expensive now because of the ham radio linear guys. You know, they got to spend $300 on 6 tubes so they can put out a bunch of power going audio, photon, audio, photon. I got our fuse holder for the cathode fuse tacked on, and I just moved the jumper. It's nice of them to give you a jumper in this set. I moved the jumper just over here to keep it so it could always be put back. The 3A3 does look like it has a few hours on it, but not many. And this is a Japanese tube also, as is this one here. This should be replaced with a 3CU3 because it's a much better tube. It doesn't short out like this does and blow that tube up, but we have the fuse to protect that tube. So this is a real world test. So I'm not changing anything. All the original capacitors, all the original tubes, just an hour meter and a fuse. That's it. That tube right there, you can see, doesn't have many hours on it. It's clear. Both this one and this one, the glass will turn dark brown from the x-rays. So this has a few hours, probably, like I said, under 50. I actually expect this to fail in fairly short order. In the TV shop, there was a huge box of these. It must have had, I don't know, 50 or 100 of them that they replaced. They brought quite a few of them home, and they were all burned up. This is basically the same and is interchangeable with RCA CTC 17 through 35. They're all the same electrically. You can interchange this with that, except the RCA version has the socket on the top and the tube pokes down in it. But if you get around that, it's easier to put this into an RCA than an RCA into this because of where the rectifier tube mounts. But electrically, they're identical. You can swap them out with just figuring the leads out. I know those are hard to get. These are much easier to get than the RCA version because everybody wants the RCA version. Okay. So all the electroletics checked good, including that little one right there. All the tubes are Packard Bell. They're all low hour. I don't really see a whole bunch to do here. We'll do a setup on this thing and get it working this evening. And I have a feeling this will fail in the first 100 to 200 hours. That's my prediction. That'll fail. How long the CRT will last, that's something that I'd really like to know. You know, we'll watch the deterioration of it over a period of time. So this tube is Japanese. It's a vertical output. This is made by RCA. This is Japanese. We already looked at that. This here is, what is this one? Japanese with the white writing. That'll probably go bad and blow the cathode fuse. I don't know what this is. What's this right here? This is General Electric. This is RCA. That is RCA. If you wonder what I'm doing, I had a video called Talkin' Tubes with Al, and he explains how to tell who made the tubes. Basically, the made in USA with the box around it like that is RCA. See how that one's got the box around it? That's RCA. This one here has the like laser etched. That's GE. Of course, GE is the best because you can wash the tubes and the numbers never come off. All the rest of these, if you start washing these, you'll take the numbers off when they get older. See, who is this one? So this is RCA. You can see it's got the box around it, and it's also EIA code is 274, so this is RCA, definitely. I don't have much faith in these Japanese tubes. I really don't. Some of them were good, but not these. These are not. I was thinking about testing them, but there's really no point. You can test. So many times I've tested horizontal output tubes, and they test okay, but then they won't generate any high voltage. Damper tubes will test okay, but then they start internally arcing when you put the big pulse on them. So testing tubes, to me, is almost pointless. This is new old stock beauty right here. Yeah, it's a pretty boxy plain cabinet, but it's just so clean and in such good shape. I got the chassis out. I'm going to put it back in, and we'll do setup, and it should be pretty much set up, but we'll get it fired up and check the cathode current. I think I'm going to reform. Pull the horizontal output. Well, I got the cathode disconnected, but I'll pull the horizontal output, maybe the damper, vertical, and bring it up on some light bulbs just so I don't shock the capacitors. I have the damper out, the vertical output tube out, the horizontal output tube out, and I have the CRT unplugged just because it's easy and to get the filaments. So we'll start with a 40-watt bulb here, and of course we're cooking at full brightness there. So I'm going to just let this sit for a minute. I should be watching, maybe that's a 60-watt bulb. That might be a 60. On this, I'm fighting the filaments. See, if this was a series string, I pull one tube out and I can reform the capacitors without fighting the filaments. So maybe I'll go up to, see, that's a 150. I wonder, this is a three-way. I wonder what this will give us. Light bulbs. These things are called light bulbs. They're made out of glass, and they have a tungsten filament in them that uses a lot of electrons. See, I figure there's probably 100, well, it's starting to come back up, meaning the tubes are starting to conduct. I'm going to just let it sit for 15 minutes. I'm in no hurry. Let it try and reform. It's so hot out here today anyway, it would be hard to tell if the capacitors, you're getting hot to the touch. They're already hot to the touch. It's like 100 here today, so yeah, it's hard to tell. I think it's go time here. All of the tubes are back in. I got this connected across the fuse. We're at 14 milliamps and gaining. Here we go. Bypass. Wow, the lights still work. There we go. $299 watts of pure heat. So that's why I was shaking the cup a little bit on this one. And donate, feed me, help me help the person who's doing this offset the electric costs or something like that. It's just going to work. It's just going to work good because it's, you know, virgin. Well, it seems to have a serious convergence issue. And I don't know if I bumped the clover leaf or something taking the chassis out or something. I didn't plug something back in, but let me see if I can set this up real quick. So what you do, I just set the camera on a chair. What you do is you turn the ignore that rolling bar. That's just because it's dark or it's too bright. Turn the red screen all the way down. You get rid of the red. No, I'm sorry. Short bus. You turn the blue all the way down. There you go. You get rid of blue like that. Then what you do is you lay green and red on top of each other. And they ride at an angle. They ride diagonally. So you get blue and green, you get red and green on top of each other like that. And you want to get that dot in the middle real close. And it's almost best to do it with a magnifying glass, but I'm actually looking in the camera. In fact, maybe what I'll do, can I move this up? There we go. So red moves it that way diagonally, and green moves this one diagonally. So you start with that center dot and you get that perfect, and then the whole rest of the screen kind of actually lined up. Then what you do is you bring up your blue screen, and you can actually move blue. Blue doesn't move on a diagonal axis, it moves on both because you have a lateral magnet. Actually, I probably need to do purity first. Okay, what am I doing here? See, the blue clover leaf moves it up and down, and the blue lateral moves it side to side. So you can literally put this one wherever you want it and get it dead on. Okay. So see, that brings it right in. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good. Let me do the purity. The purity looks pretty good, except it's pulled in on the left side. That's kind of weird. Weak horizontal output tube. So watch what happens if I push the ICP degaussing button. So yeah, what's this going on over here on the left side? It's green and it's pulled in. It's so odd to see a TV with the channel numbers that illuminate. Anyway, you'll notice how this bounces. And that should not do that. That sort of indicates a weak horizontal output tube. But the deal was not to do anything to it, so we're just going to run it like it is. All original capacitors, all original tubes. Let's just roll it and see what happens. if those horizontal output tubes only last 100 hours or 200 hours, that's gonna be a big deal. Because like I said, the ham radio and CB guys have gobbled those all up. They've made them real expensive because they're great tubes for RF amplifiers. So yeah, it should not do that. Look at the cataract is causing the greening around the perimeter. But it just works, and it works good. Look at how sharp that is. No smearing. The colors are not all running over the top of each other. It looks great. I'm going to adjust the cathode current. So there's the diddle stick. I'm just going to try and minimize this. I wonder how long a 200 milliamp fuse will survive at 210 milliamps. You know, because there's not a lot of flexibility on these things. Ooh, that's going up, isn't it? Wow. You want to minimize this, but you want to always do this when it's real hot. And you want to make sure you don't shrink your picture anymore. Well, that's a sharp cut. Airplane! Airplane in sky! Make low lead avgas for brain cell cancer. Well, that's a touchy adjustment. I'll leave it about right there. We'll see what see how that changed it here. I think it pulled in even more on the side. Let's see, let's go back to crosshatch. Yes, I take muffler off car for low IQ. Jesus, that guy really needs some type of surgical enhancement. See, so as long as you stay down here, that's adjusting the brightness. You don't go outside the regulation, but when you start to come up here, you're going outside the regulation. So here the regulation's working, but up here you overdo what it can regulate. So yeah, that's Twinko Crinkulicious. Jeez. Weak horizontal output tube. Japanese goodness.
Plus it comes with special attachments and cleaners. But this, do you know it's been over 3 years since we've seen anything like this on the air?
Scrub it.
Well, we're going to have one of your final shows and presentations, and then you just choose your color of choice. And because it's a 5 flex pay weekend, 5 flexible payments, free shipping as well.
You know, I was the aerobic queen, jumping around. Then I had both my hips replaced, so no more jumping. And I tell you, I was terrified. I was like, how am I going to maintain my weight, not be able to do that high impact exercise? Then I started focusing on my total gym more more, and my body actually became better, stronger, and my diet actually...
I know. Look who I found.
What do?
That's me. That's him. Hi there. Welcome to HSN. We can spoon later.
You were getting in trouble during your last show. I was sweating in my green.
What will we do to avoid copyright? I need to rescan this thing. They've repacked the channels like 10 times since I've updated
It looked
it.
like she had twice the amount of hair, but the shine in this hair, she has baby fine hair, as you know. Step away from me. Are we going the right way? Yes. But watch as I lift it and I drop it. It's feather light. It will never weigh down your hair, guys, even with the baby fine hair.
Oh, yes.
Because it doesn't have the polymers.
There we go.
The binders and waxes. But look at the difference. Turn this way now.
Wow, she looks good.
Too, from the before and the after, when she was facing
Color?
forward, is her smile.
Oh, yes.
Oh, your smile, yes. Oh, it's radiant.
See if we can make her green.
Yes, come towards me a little. Am I doing the right way? Nope, away from me. I mean, the confidence Wen gives you, I'm not joking, because you don't wake up wondering, am I gonna, I used to, 29 years ago, I wake up, am I gonna, when I went to high school, I'm like, I probably had a handful of good hair days in high school, I'm not joking. If I had this hair in high school, I would be a different person, I'm not joking. In high school, my hair was dry.
I never thought about my hair day in high school.
One day and I'd be like, what did I do that day that it was good? I would chase my tail trying to do that again. Maybe a month or two later, I could.
I never thought about my hair day at high school.
You never wonder, am I going to have a good hair day or a bad hair day with Wen? No joke. Every day, and you don't have to.
It's good to know that. Oh, here we go. This is. Hey, at least the mask matches the piano.
The highlight is that jazz is still living on today, and not only through modern music, but also through institutions such as the National Jazz Museum in Harlem, where people like John Batiste, who's the art director, and Christian McBride, who's the art director, as many of the staff, part of this museum, are figuring out ways to promote and continue to preserve the story.
And the Longhorns can do against his former boss, the top-ranked.
Hey, the greens are green. Got to stay off of that, though.
I don't understand the need to preface the answer. You said, not that I have experience.
Not that I've seen it.
Oh, you...
Reaction. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Gallbladder problems may occur. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes. Taking Rybelsus with a sulfonylurea or insulin increases low blood sugar risk. Side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
Need to get your A1C down?
Ask your healthcare provider about Rybelsus today.
Make this the summer you realized the farther you go, the better it gets. The summer you secured a campsite that didn't require reservations, found a water park that didn't have lines, and realized that even out here, you're never alone. Make this the summer of Jeep with the most awarded SUV brand.
Shop and buy online with Jeep eShop. And now during a Jeep Labor Day sales event, well-qualified returning lessees can lease select 2022 Grand Cherokee L models for $365 a month.
Hold on, I'm coming. You didn't tell me you were getting McDonald's.
There's an irresistible breakfast for every morning. Get 2 sausage McMuffin with egg for just $5. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Do you want some more?
Wait till you see me on the downhill.
See you at home.
Enjoy advanced safety at the Lexus Go Opportunity Sales Event.
Chest cold, pain in legs or arms, and shortness of breath. With Leckfield, lowering cholesterol is just...
I love the side effects.
Ask your doctor about Leckfield. Lower, longer.
I love blood failure and diarrhea.
Boys, chopped cob salad is our most popular salad. Loaded with all the fresh good stuff you love and value you can taste. Farmer Boys, farm food ain't fast food.
Well, this shows you how good the picture can be on a tube television. You know, we're used to seeing ones that are spent and worn out. And this is damn near as good as a small flat screen. Maybe the resolution isn't, but the color is awesome. There's a couple things that concern me. The cathode current keeps moving all over the place. I adjusted it down to a minimum and then it moved. And the flyback is hot as hell, and the power transformer is hot as hell, but nothing's excessive. I mean, so this thing, wow, is that hot. That thing is super hot. And the cathode current seems sort of stable right now, but the flyback is just burning hot. I mean, yeah. Yeah, look at that. It's like dissolving. It's so hot. It's what do you call it? It's like all loose and molten. That's not going to last too long like that. That thing needs to be fan cooled. If it's going to last at all, that needs to be fan cooled. There's no way that's going to survive. It is just, you stick your hand right here, you can just feel the heat. None of these capacitors are even slightly warm. I mean, they're just picking up radiant heat off the transformer, which is, yeah, you can't touch it. So the cathode current's at 201 right now. I'm going to open the can, and I'm going to leave the can open and let it get some air in there, and let's see if the cathode current changes. I'm not going to sit back here and get X-radiated, but yeah, it's outside, so let me move my things away from this. Alright, I let it cool off for 30 minutes and it still seems pretty close. Yeah, I don't know about that flyback getting so hot. I know they have a high failure rate, but it sure seems like that thing would die in a real hurry getting that hot. But anyway, that's what this is about. So I think we're ready to go here.
One day in an 18-wheeler rearing. My body was super tense, didn't know where to turn, and I looked up and I saw Jacob and Ronnie's poster, and that was who I called. I was ecstatic with the results, and I suggest anyone else looking for an accident attorney.
Absolutely beautiful picture.
Accidents can be devastating, but recovery doesn't happen.
Oh, I love my devastating
one call,
accident.
One click, I'm here for you. Accident, call Jacob and Ronnie. Call Jacob.
Hurry in and see why more people are switching to Ram than ever before. Ram, built to serve. Get 0% financing for 72 months, plus no monthly payments for 90 days on Ram 1500. Or well-qualified returning lessees can lease Ram 1500 for $309 a month. Sky 9 Map Tracker. Real-time street mapping. The latest in breaking...
I just can't get over how great the picture is. Because so much of the stuff I work on is, you know, the opposite of this. It's spent to the max. Ooh, let's see what's going on tonight.
Right now at 8:30, the extreme heat continues as a flex alert is extended until tomorrow. People across Southern California are now being asked to conserve energy use between 4 and 9 p.m. Welcome back to KCAL 9 News at 8, streaming live right now on CBS News Los Angeles. I'm Ross Palumbo.
And I'm Leslie Marin. Well, according to CalISO, energy use on Thursday was at its highest in 5 years.
And with excessive heat warnings in effect until Tuesday for most of Southern California, energy use could get even higher. KCAL 9's Max Darrow has the very latest.
As the heat ramps up, so will the stress on the power grid. So for the fourth consecutive day, Californians are being asked to conserve power. A flex alert is in place until 9 o'clock tonight. The energy demand continues to escalate.
On Thursday evening,
We had the highest demand for power that we've seen since September of 2017. And those last few days are likely to be a dress rehearsal for what's going to be a much more significantly stressed set of conditions here as we get into the heart of the weekend.
Cal ISO Flex alerts are from 4 to 9 p.m. People are urged to limit power usage during that window, like not running heavy appliances, charging EVs, and setting the AC to 78 degrees or higher.
We start to see the most stressed grid conditions following sunset. That is a very critical period.
No problem on a hot Saturday for Cupertino resident Vipul Shroff.
It is not like it causes too much inconvenience. It's just being sort of cognizant about it, like, hey, this is the time I need to not use too much power. Like, doing my laundry at night doesn't hurt me.
He also charges his cars around midnight because it's cheaper.
Significantly, it's like half the rate.
When we're in a situation like this, where we're right up against the margin of the system capability, and you have the kind of threats to reliability from fires and generation plants coming offline, that consumer flexible demand, that response can be the difference between the lights staying on or not.
In Lafayette, Greg Moronic thinks the power will likely go off at some point.
Yeah, that's been our experience during heat waves. Power will go out for, 4, 5, 6 hours.
Back in Cupertino, Schroff hopes that won't be the case.
I would not be happy if my power went out. I would really be not happy at all about it.
Alice Reynolds, the president of the Public Utilities Commission, says there are financial rewards for those who really conserve.
If you are able to keep your power use away from the 4 to 9 period, so if you are able to achieve a reduction, you'll get compensated.
According to Cal ISO, consumers and businesses are answering the call to conserve, and it has helped keep the grid stable so far this week.
And that was Max Darrow reporting. Today, a small earthquake rattling parts of the Inland Empire. The magnitude 3.6 quake striking.
So at the beginning of this video, I was talking about the different power charges based on load and time of day and a tiered system. So when they declare a flex alert, that's the peak pricing. That's the absolute peak pricing. So when they declare a flex alert, like right now, you're running probably 70 to 90 cents a kilowatt, depending on what tier you're in. That's why the guy was saying he charges his electric vehicle after midnight, because electric vehicles, if it's totally dead, the battery's 100 kilowatts. So you go and charge a 100 kilowatt battery at 90 cents an hour or 90 cents a kilowatt. Yeah, I mean, do the math on that. That's why I feel sorry for people who don't understand this billing and all these variables in this electric billing situation we have. So anyway, beautiful greens on this thing. Look at that. Look at that beautiful greens. I think this thing's ready to go. And we'll be out of this flex alert thing here in a few weeks. As soon as September passes, we start to cool off and you won't hear anything about this. We get this about 2 weeks a year or something like that. It's not a whole bunch.
At Kennedy Space Center, waiting for word on when to blast off to the moon. And the reason for the second delay is the same as the first, leaking hydrogen. And now the waiting game, well, it is on to see when NASA's next moonshot will take place. Here is KCAL 9's Skylar Henry.
This is Artemis Launch Control. Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson just called a scrub for the launch attempt today.
NASA's most powerful rocket will have to go back to the shop for repairs after officials called off Saturday afternoon's liftoff because of a hydrogen gas leak.
It was characterized as a large leak.
It's the second time since Monday that leaking hydrogen put the launch on hold.
I was discussing the flyback temperature with a few friends and telling them how it's just like melty, gooey, creamy hot. And I was saying, I don't think it's going to last 5 days. And one of them had a suggestion that maybe it was full of moisture. And how could it have moisture in it, being so hot? So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this thing on and kind of take a look at the temperatures. Like, get an actual idea what the real temperature is. Now this is one of the hottest days of the year. You can see it's 7 o'clock in the morning out here, and we're already at 80 degrees in the TV at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to fire it up and let's see what happens. In fact, I'll turn it on. Should see the tubes come up here pretty quick. But what is that? Oh, that's a power resistor. Boy, look at the focus coil. Wonder why that focus. So that focus coil, I wonder why that thing is so hot. I mean, I can understand the shunt tube. You know, that's a regulator. The high voltage rectifier is not that hot. Got a resistor on the Convergence board there that's cooking. Keep this closed. I don't need any more cancer than I already got. Try and minimize that exposure. So I'm going to let it run for, I don't know, an hour. And we'll see what happens. Oh, what's our cathode current running this morning? 200. Damn, you can see the wire going to the TV is hot.
Walking around, you think, well, how do I get all this stuff? Well, you can be entertained if you have a DVD player. This is only one of 3 models that we've offered here at HSN that have had the DVD player. At Trexonic, just in the last 3 years alone...
Okay, so the power transformer is running about 160.
...have been sold. 98% of them have not had the DVD player. So if you want the one that could be entertained while you're on the go, this is that one for you.
Radiation time.
Gorgeous. High definition as well, so whatever you're watching, it's going to look perfect. And you can see that swivel now. I don't have to push a button, I just turn it around.
Flyback's running 200, like 190. Let's see if I can get down in here and finish myself off. I get my sterilization going on here. How about this thing? Oh, that just pegs it.
In the previous generation of the antenna, It was only good for about 15 miles. You guys liked it, but you're like, I need just a few more channels. So we more than doubled the range. So now we went from 15 cows up to 35 miles.
35.
More range, more channels, more shows, because you have that amplified antenna.
And I remember you telling me the stories of like when you and your family travel, and his family does the best trips. But you were traveling, I think, driving, and it's like as you went from one state to the next, you're like getting different channels because you were in a different area.
So the antenna will constantly ping the different stuff. So we drove from Florida to South Carolina, 6-hour road trip.
That's
so
right.
we're picking up Tampa, Orlando.
A TV antenna does not ping the channels. A TV antenna receives the channels.
Because of that antenna. So it just keeps the kids entertained having that extra TV.
And this is the upgraded antenna. So just to let you know, that's a really big deal because you'll get more free, more channels, more entertainment. And by the way, the DVD player, it also plays CDs, so you can listen to your music and all of those things. And
it has a laser in it that's good for about 300 hours. Oh, I tried both the 200 and the 250 milliamp fuse, and it blew both of them. It blew the 200 as soon as it came up, and it blew the 250 in about 3 minutes. So
This is one of the HSN reviews. She said, I asked an electrician how much would it cost just to wire for a TV. It was going to cost her $300 to do it. She bought her Trexonic TV, and now her bathroom has a television.
You didn't have to wire.
You didn't have to wire anything. You just plug it in.
I need my bathroom to have a TV.
Unplugged if you want to, so either or. But she takes her Trexonic TV from the bathroom now to the laundry room, which she's doing her laundry, and then also to the kitchen. So whatever nook and cranny of the house that you have, that you want to be entertained, and honestly, we all love entertainment. You want to turn your head off for a second and just watch your favorite show.
Yeah, those power resistors down in there, those things are hot.
So every morning I'm getting ready. I can see what's going on with the news, the weather. That is how I start my day, but everybody's different. That's the great thing about having your own personal TV.
I am so not
This is this resistor right here, right? Yeah, that's a resistor.
You know, learning. I could taking it into the kitchen to maybe.
Oh yes, learning what the establishment wants me to know by watching more TV.
Totally on the go, from room to room, from place to place.
Totally.
It's a big day to start off a sporting season, and now it's true. My next door neighbors, Lori and Stephanie, they are both different fans of different teams.
Yeah, that flyback is cooking. Doesn't seem to be failing though, so maybe we just roll with it. I'll try getting a 275 or 300 milliamp fuse.
And putting it up on a wall that you're stuck to watching it in that one room. The options are endless as to
Yes,
where you can take it.
options. Let's watch some of this.
It's just over 3 pounds. It's not much at all. Like you see it and you think, oh, it's a DVD player, it's a TV, it's going to weigh a lot. It weighs less than most laptops that are out there. It weighs, frankly, less than most of my daughter's high school books. It's incredible how lightweight it is, so you can put it in a backpack. But the other thing, too, is not only can you watch the DVD, because this is only one of 3 models that have ever had that DVD player, you can get access through the over-the-air antenna, but we have all these ports that are on the side, really more ports than your big screen TV tab. So on the first one right there, that's where you plug in your antenna. The next one, that's a USB port. So I downloaded a movie from my computer, and I'm playing it right now through that little USB stick. So anything from your computer, you can easily do that. I just slide on down.
See why I drilled a bunch of holes in the top of the converter box?
Camera, turn this into a digital photo frame. So easy to do. There's also a VGA port. If you want to plug this into a computer,
oh yes,
a computer screen, no problem. You can easily do that as well. But it's that
want to turn my TV into a digital
that's the one you're going to use probably
photo frame.
99% of the time. Because now you can plug in a cable box, a satellite box, an Xbox. My son plugs his Nintendo Switch into this.
Oh,
if
yes.
you're a gamer, you can easily do that.
I'm a gamer.
Bill Duggan was on earlier with the Roku stick. You can plug that in there, turn this into a smart TV, or if you have an Apple TV, or even Amazon Fire Stick. All these different devices are designed to work that one HDMI input.
Yes.
And then you can turn this into a smart TV, really giving you all the options. And if you have a son or daughter who loves playing games like my kids do, they have an Xbox and they have a Nintendo Switch, this is that perfect TV for their room that they can watch television, they can watch movies, and now they can also plug in all the entertainment to go.
Thing is hot, man. The converter box. They weren't designed to last too long.
But there are also stereo speakers included with it.